So in last class we have seen if else, elif, and then different types of conditions, and we also started with for loop, right? So today also we will continue with the loop thing.
Within, can you increase your voice?
This is for everyone or just for you? Yes.
You are audible here for me.
Okay. So this is fine for everyone. No voice, Sadik.
थोड़ा इंक्रीज कर दो थोड़ा खाली
It's already high. I think it may be in your system.
For me, it's pretty clear now. Good voice.
Okay,
हाँ
thanks.
बराबर है
Okay, so we in last class we started with the last topic was for loop. Okay, and the syntax was for I in and basically iterable thing, and then code blocks. Okay, and we have seen some few examples for loop. So similar to for loop, there can be a nested for loop. Okay, so nested for loop means the for loop inside a for loop. So for example, let's say if I created a matrix in the sense, so let's say if I have to create a matrix, so I can create a list 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this is my matrix, and let's say if I have to print the values, okay, so if I simply do for I in X, maybe we can directly go to the code. Yeah. So let's say if we create a matrix, so it can be a list inside a list, and there can be a multiple list. Okay. And if I print this, so this will be simply this thing. Now if I apply for loop for I in X, okay, so how many times this loop will run? So it depend on how many items are present in that list. So let's say to find the number of items, so what we can do, simply length of X. So total 3 elements are there. Okay. So if I do this thing and simply if I do print I, it will do this thing. So first time it will print 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. Okay. Now let's say if I play with that thing further, okay, and for j in X of I, okay, and print j, okay. So this will be basically range of x. If I have to do this thing, okay. So this is one example of nested loop. Okay. So here, so there is a for loop inside a for loop. So let's say if someone give you a problem, like let's say these are rows, right? So there are three rows in this matrix. So first row is this one, second row is this one, and third row is this one. Okay. So let's say the interviewer asks you to create a program which basically add the values of each row. Okay. So for example, let's say in this matrix, so the first row sum will be 3 plus 2 plus 1. So that is a 6, right? The second row sum will be 6 plus 5 plus 4. That is a 15. Then it is a 24. Okay. So the the problem is like we have to find the sum of each row and to print that thing. Okay. Or maybe we can store in some place. So this is your input matrix, and let's say in output we want the sum of each row. Okay, so the first row sum let's say is 7, the second row sum is uh, 15, and third row sum is 24. So this is my, let's say y is my output, that what we want. Okay, again let's see it here. So the objective is to get the output in this form like 7, 15 and 24, and which is basically the sum of each rows. Okay, so how to do that using, let's say if I have to use a nested for loop. Okay, so what we can do, so let's say first I need to create a empty list because the output is also list, that that is our target. Okay, so first we created a nested uh, sorry, empty list, and let's say if we have to create a logic. Okay, so the logic is like, let's say this is my matrix 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, and the idea is to sum each row's value. So this is 6, then this is 15, and this is 24. Okay, and in list, how this is stored: 1 2 3 comma 4 5 6 comma 7 8 9. Right now, so let's say if I do uh, iterate over this list, so in first iteration the item will that will come is 1 2 3. Okay, right? Let's say if I do this thing only, uh, like for I in X, right? So it will iterate over all three lists. So since the length of this list, that X is 3, so this loop will also runs over 3 times, right? So in first time, the value of I will be, that is 1 2 3. Okay, so first time the value of I is 1 2 3. Now what we can do, let's say if we have to do some sum. Okay, so inside this loop, what if we create a, let's say, some variable, that is, let's say t underscore sum equal to 0, and for j in I. Okay. For j in I,
X of
and
I नहीं आता.
the value of I is, what is the value of I? 1, 2, 3. So there can be a different approach, but currently the value of I is 1, 2, 3, right? So if I iterate over all three things, so if I, now this is my new list, and if I use the for loop, so first this loop will also, the second j item will also run over three times, right? Because the values are 1, 2, 3. So the length of that list is 1, 2, 3. So what I can do, t underscore sum. So first time this, the value of j will be 1. So I can apply t underscore sum plus j. Okay. Again, this loop will get, the new value of j will be 2. Then it will run over three times. So once this loop get end, what we can do, y dot append. So over this loop, and we can store that value. Okay. Now after this loop finishes or iterate over all three uh, items, then again control goes over this loop. So now the next time the value of I is 4, 5, 6. Now the next line is again t underscore sum will be 0. Then for j in I. So now the value of I is 4, 5, 6. Again it will do the sum and then append. So uh, this is my first loop which run over three times, and this is my next state, means second loop, which again run over three times. Okay. So let's say if I do this thing for I in X. Okay. And simply if I do print I. So in first iteration, it written 1, 2, 3, second iteration 4, 5, 6, and third iteration 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now if I do this t underscore sum equal to uh, this, okay, t underscore sum equal to 0, and let's say here again if I apply next loop, that is for j in I. Okay. And let's say if I do print of I. Okay. Just to showcase how this loop works. Sorry, here print j. Okay. So let's say if I run this thing, and maybe I can remove for now t underscore sum. Okay. So if you see, this loop runs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Maybe what we can do, print, and let's say what we, if I apply some counter, let's say c is one value which is 0. Okay. And c equal to c plus 1. So every time it iterate, we adding 1. Okay. And at the end, we are also printing c. Okay. Let's say if I do k equal to 0, and here also k equal to k plus 1. Okay. And in the end, let's say I want to print C and K. Basically, I want to print how many times this upper loop run and how many times this second loop runs. Okay. And maybe if I define it here. Okay. So for now, so first time it run, the value of C is 1 and this loop run 3 times. Okay. Second times, again the value of this C incremented to 1, that become 2, and again this loop run 3 times, and similarly for this as well. Okay. So the parent loop run 3 times, and for each run the child loop run 3 times. Okay. So if I have to see total how many times this child loop runs, this case it is 9. Okay. Now again come back to the problem. So what we want? We want to add these things. So each row. Okay. So if I do for I in X, and if I simply do print I, each time
I
it
had
will
a
return it will
doubt,
return the
Yubi.
rows. Sorry.
I have a doubt. So, for what thing we have done that before part? It was not for summation. So, what was it for?
This is just for understanding how the loop works.
So,
Okay.
it doesn't have any relation with the summation part.
No, no, that I'm coming to that part. Before that, I want to show you how the loop, the values how or how many times loop iterate. Okay. So that what I want to showcase because of that. Okay.
So, it
Still the
iterates 6 times.
I have already shown you na means how many time it iterates. It iterate parent loop iterate. How many time parent loop iterate?
3 times.
3 time. Correct. And how many for each iteration? How many times the child loop iterate?
3 times.
Correct. Yeah, you got it. Now coming back to the problem. So we want to basically add this thing. Okay. So each row we want to add. So what we can do, so for j in I, and we can have some summation. So t underscore sum equal to, let's say, 0. Okay. And here just t underscore sum equal to t underscore sum plus j. Okay. And what we can do once this entire loop get completed for first iteration of parent loop, we will have all the summation. Okay, so let's say if you want to see it, what you can do, print t underscore sum. Okay, so that will basically, once this loop will get finished, the control will come into this point. Okay, so here we can see what is the value of t underscore sum, and at the same time we can append this thing. Okay, right. So if I run this thing, so if you see what we have print t underscore sum. So in first, and this is for mainly parent loop we are printing. So in first iteration, it sum all the values and it returns 6. In second iteration, it run uh, sum all the values and return 15. Similarly, 24. And we also saving that value in this list. And if you have to see the list, so this is how it looked like. Okay, so this is how this is one of the example of nested loop. Okay, so here also it depend on problem to problem how based on the problem you can use nested loop, or basically it depend on the problem statement whether to use the nested loop or not. Okay, now the next thing is that is a enumerate. Okay, so let's say this problem only, or maybe some, let's say z equal to 1 5 8 9 4 6. Okay, and first let me show you directly the example. So I comma j in enumerate j. Okay, and if I do print I comma j. Okay, so it will return the basically when we when you use enumerate, it also give you the index. Okay, so here z equal to 1 5 8 9 4 6. So inside a list there are multiple element, and when you do the enumerate, it also assign the index. So the one index is 0, 5 index is 1, so on. Okay, so this is useful when you need index as well. Okay, let's say you don't want to start from 0, you want to start from some other value. So there also, let's say you want to start from 3. Okay, so that also you can do. So in enumerate, uh, by default it is start from 0, but let's say in some case, maybe in some problem you want to start from some other value, so there you can put start equal to that value. Okay, so this is one of the thing. Okay, next is a zip command. So let's say you have a to list uh, and grapes. Okay, so this is one list, and then let's say there is other list. Okay, and maybe one more list. Okay, so let's say there are 3 lists, and you want to, let me show you first example. So if I zip in zip x comma y comma g. Okay, so basically with the help of zip you can create a list. So for example this case, so it will create a list of tuples. Okay, so apple, then 23 comma 34, that is first tuples, then second will be banana, then 56 comma 67. Okay, so zip will basically similarly it will combine grapes 98 and 89. So it create this sort of thing. So if you do for I in zip x comma y comma z, since there are three output, so for here also you need three things. So I, j, k. Okay, and you can print I comma j comma k. See, okay, so this is useful. Let's say if you have a multiple list and you want to combine those things, so you can use a zip command. Okay, so here if you see for I comma j comma k. Okay, so since if we do zip, so at a time there are three items, right? So because of that also here also you need to provide a three item. So let's say if instead of x if I combine only x comma y, then here also we need to put I comma j only, since there are two values. Okay, so this is how it works. And if you observe enumerate also, since it providing one extra element, so let's say this is your list, and if you do enumerate, it also provide a index. So because of that only we are putting two things here also. Okay, because here are two things. Let's say if you do only one thing, means only one variable. So okay, so this provide a list only, means it treating this as a single unit. Okay, right. Similarly here also, let's say if I do simply if I do I only at that side, it will return this entire list as a one unit. Oh, sorry, entire tuple as a one unit. But if I have to break, I can do this thing. Okay, so now it's separating both the things. So yeah, so that is a list. Uh, okay, one more thing that is quite useful is a list comprehension. Okay, so in list comprehension, uh, let me show you the syntax. I'm telling only those things which are useful in GenAI, or means if you write any Python program, mostly these things you will encounter. Means, okay, so there is a important thing that is a list comprehension, and sometimes people ask some programming question using list comprehension. So it is list comprehension. So from name also, if you see, there is a list thing, right? So here in list comprehension, there is a first term that is called expression, and for x in iterable. Okay, so this is expression for x in iterable. That is basically the syntax of list comprehension. Okay, so let's say if I have a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and using for loop, if I have to do a square of each number and save inside a list, another list. So let's say the output should be, this is output 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Okay, so let's say if I do with the normal for loop, so what I can write, let me directly show you through code. So the objective is, let's say there is a list 4, 5. 6. Okay, and I want to square each number and save in another list. So let's say my objective is y equal to 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, and 36. So this is what I want in my output. So let's say if I have to do that thing using for loop. So what I can do, first I can create a empty list, then for I in X. Okay, and what I can do, um, y dot append I into I, right? So in first iteration, the value of I will be 1. So 1 into 1, and then we are appending that thing into this list, right? Next time 2. So 2 into 2, and we are appending similarly for other, right? So let's okay, sorry. And if you have to see the value, so this is how it look like. Okay, so we able to achieve that thing. Now, so now for this thing, how many line of code we have written? 3 line of code. Let's say if you have to do the same thing using list comprehension. So again, let's say uh, I'm first giving the X syntax. So it is a expression for I in iterable. Okay, and I is nothing but just a variable name. You can put any name that you want. It can be J, K, any name you can do. Okay, and that you can save in a list. Let's say M, maybe another list. So expression for I in iterable. Okay, and iterable is the example of iterable is list, tuple, set, dictionary, and other things, right? So here, let's say if I have to do the same thing with the help of this list comprehension, again, now I'm creating another variable. Maybe let's say n is one list, and first I can what I can do for I in the iterable object is that is a x, okay, and the expression is I into I. Okay, so this if I do that thing and simply do that thing, so within a single line of code we able to achieve the same thing. Okay, so that is a this is one of the example of list comprehension. Okay, now let's say if I take another example where let's say G and maybe 1 3 5 or okay, just range of 1 to 34. So, okay, so let's say this is one of the list and the objective is to create another list. Basically, that list should only store the even number. So here there are multiple numbers 1, 4, 7, 10, 13. So in that we just want to save the even number. So 4 is 4, 10, 16, 22, 28, right? So these are uh, 4, 10, 16, 22, and 28. So these are even numbers, right? So for that, let's say if I have to do through normal loop. So for even number, how to let's say if I have to find whether a number is even or not. So what logic I can use? If I divide by 2, the remainder should be 0, right? So for remainder, what we use? This thing. Okay. So let's say if I have a number 13 divided by 2. Here the remainder will not be 0. Here we will get 1, right? But let's say if I do this thing. So here the remainder will be 0, right? So the logic we can use. So if I divide any number and uh, if I do this thing modulus operation, so this is a modulus operation, and if the output is 0, then equal to 0, then I can say that number is a even. So let's say I create a empty list M. Okay. And here for I in G. Okay. So we will iterate through each values and see which are even and see append. If it is a even, we will append that value to the M. Okay. So now we can apply some condition. Basically, we are applying using if loop, if is statement inside a for loop. So if I modulus 2 equal to 0. So that is my condition. If it is a true, then what I can do? M dot append I, right? So this is the only condition that we need to check. So yeah, and if I just print M, so see it be able to achieve this value. Okay. Now here also we have put write 4 line of code. Okay. Now let's say if I have to do the same thing with the help of list comprehension. So if you are using only if statement, okay, so the list comprehension code will be like expression for I in iterable, okay, and if condition, okay. So let's say if we do the same thing, okay. So let's say here I can k is my another list and let's start with for and I in and my treble is G. Okay. So there and if and condition is I percentage 2 equal to 0. And now the expression is we don't have to multiply or anything. We just need to, if this condition met, then we save the value of I. Okay. And see, be able to do the same thing with single line of code, right? So this is basically a list comprehension where we have used if statement. Okay. Now there is, let's say, uh, okay, for the same thing, uh, again, let me print the G. Okay. So let's say now the objective is I want to create a list, okay, where let's say in first place one is there. So since that is a odd, I want to for odd I want to write odd. For even 4 is a even, then 7 is a odd, okay, and then even and so on. Maybe so this look alternative. So maybe we can take some other example. Okay, so G equal to let's say 1, 5, 7, 22, 34, 56, and 31. Okay. So in this case, let's say this is my new list and what I want. So if there is a odd, say odd, and 7 is also odd, then 22 even, okay, and so on. So basically, we want to have another list. Let's say y is another list, and the output should be for each index or for each values, not for index. For each value, if it is odd, then say odd. If it is a even, say even. Okay. So let's say if we have to do it through for loop. So here also, first we need to create a list, right? Let's say is one list where we want to save the values. So what I can do again for I in G, that is it, and if I percentage 2 equal to 0, then what I can do e dot append I. Okay, so sorry, e dot append even, right? That we want to do now. Next, else e dot append odd. Okay, and let's say once this runs, the output will be like this. Okay, so here the first value is odd, second value is odd, third value is odd, fourth value is even, and similarly for other. Now let's say if I have to do the same thing with list comprehension. Okay, so for this where you used if else statement, then the syntax is again expression. So here there will be two expression. So one is when the condition is true, expression condition true. Okay, and then if condition, then again expression else, and for I in iterable. Okay, so this is the syntax. Let's check whether the syntax is correct or not. So again, let's say if I create a new variable b and that is a empty. So in first case, when the condition is true, that is a even, and if I was if I percentage 2 equal to 0, else, okay, so else maybe sort for I in J. Let's see it whether this works or not. Yeah, so this works. So there is a small change. So expression condition underscore true. So when the condition is true, for that the expression is even this thing. If then condition, okay, and then here else is there. Yeah, okay. So this is the third uh, variation in list comprehension where we are also using if else. Okay, so this is quite useful. Sometimes the problem they ask they ask very simple problem, and with the help of list comprehension you can easily solve within a single line of a code. Okay, and this is not just for interview, even for let's say you are doing some programming where you are writing multiple line of code, you can do that with the single line of code. Okay, so that you should know. Now the last loop that is there, that is a while loop. So in Python there are two loops, one is for loop, other is a while loop. So in while loop also while and then condition. Okay, while condition, if condition is true, the code will run this loop multiple times. Okay, till this condition is true. For example, let's say if I have to um, if I put some condition while I less than 5. Okay, and let's say if I put I initially I equal to 1. So the condition is I less than 5. This condition should be met. Um, okay, so initially when the value of I is 1, it is less than 5. And so let's say if I do print star, okay, uh, let's say this into I. Okay, so since first time this condition is true, it will run this thing. And let's say if I also do I equal to I plus 1. Okay, so now the value of I is 2. Again again the control back to here, and now the value of I is 2. It will check 2 less than 5, the condition is true. Again it will run this print thing, and then increasing the value of I to, let's say again earlier 2, then 2 plus 1 3. Again it will do, then it will print, it will increment the value to 4. Then again the control come back to here, it will check 4 less than 5 true, it will run, then 5. So 5 less than 5, the condition is true, false. In that case the loop will stop. Okay, so this while loop will continue till the condition is true. Okay, so let's say in this only, if I do only this thing I less than 5, and above if I put simply I equal to 1, and this colon, then print I. So this loop will run infinite times, because every time it will run this thing, again control come back to here, and we are not incrementing the value of I. So it can run infinite times. Okay. So maybe we can create another. You can select the kernel, that is the first step. Then okay, so let's say if I do I equal to 0, and or yeah, while I less than, let's say 3 only, and if I do print I. Okay, so let's say if I run this thing, so this program is still run, right? It's running till the memory. So this we can stop, because right now every time the condition get true. So we can interrupt that thing. Now instead of that, if I do this thing, I equal to, so I equal to I plus 1. Okay, the same thing you can also write in this way in Python, I plus sorry, plus equal to 1. So this line and this line both are same. Okay, so you can, so I plus equal to 1 means I equal to I plus 1. Okay, and let's say if I do star into I, and let's say equal to 5, and if I run this thing, okay, so here this is the thing. Okay, so this is a while loop, and in this also there are different variation. So let's say if I equal to let's say 3. Okay, basically I want to check if the value of I is 3, then I want to stop the program. Okay, means I don't want to proceed it further. So there is a break condition. Okay, maybe let's say if I do 25, and here if I equal to 10. Okay, so once this condition met, if I the value of I is equal to 10, so what it will do, it will break this loop, means the program will stop, means it will stop that loop. Okay, not program, it will stop that loop. So it will run only, see, so till the after 10 it is stopped. But if you remove that thing, just this line, okay, there is a break and there is a continue. And what we can do, and let's say instead of 25, I can write 7. Okay, and here if I do 3. Okay, so let's see the power of continue. Just a second. So initially the value of I is equal to 0. Then if I equal to 3, there is a continue, and
Does I plus equal to 1 comes into indentation?
no, it's not that. So now if you see here, so the value of initially the value of I equal to 0. So then we increment it to 1, and we are checking this condition. So if you see here the star, so first iteration it is 1, then in second iteration it is 2, in third iteration instead of 3 it is a 4, right? Then after that again 5, 6, 7. So if you apply continue statement, so what it will do, it will skip that loop, or that part of that loop. For example, let's say when the value of I is equal to 3. So now after that it found continue statement. So what it will do, once it encounter continue statement, it will skip all the steps below that continue loop inside continue thing inside that while loop. Okay, so after continue, it skip the print thing. So for that particular condition. Okay, so let's say when I the value of I equal to 1, so it print 1 star, then 2 star. When the value of I equal to 3, it match this condition get true, and this command, continue command executed, right? So once this executed, the line below that thing, which is also inside this while loop, it skip that thing. Okay. Again, control come back to while loop. Now the value of I equal to 4. Now this condition is false. And so after that, normal operation happens. So because of that, after that, let's say 1, 2, then 4 star, 5 star, 6 and 7. Only 3 star get skipped. Similarly, if we do break, so what it will do, it will, so when the value of I equal to 1, okay, so this condition is false, it will print that star. Then value of I equal to 2, it will print that thing. When the value of I equal to 3, so anything below that break means the loop will get stop after that. So the latest, so there can be multiple loops, right? So it will break the innermost loop. Always remember, it will break the innermost loop. So let's say this is a one loop. So the first loop is a while loop. Let's say this while loop is also inside a some other while loop. So it will break this while loop. Okay, innermost while loop. So this break. Okay, so this is how the while loop works. Uh, Sometimes we also use pass. So it will do nothing. Just sometimes, let's say there is nothing, no code block inside that if else statement or in condition. And later on, we want to add something. For now, just we have applied some condition. So there you can use pass statement. It will not do any effect. It is just, let's say if you do not use pass statement, it will throw error. So the error will be like there should be some statement inside this uh, if condition. Okay. So because of
But why
just to
it
have
is taking 7 stars? Because we are not included less than or equal to, right?
hmm?
So it should stop at 6 stars.
Okay. So let's say we start with the value of I equal to in first when the value of I equal to 0, then it come to while loop, then I plus equal to 1, right?
Right.
So in first iteration, the value of I equal to 1, it let's first run this thing. Okay, so total use there are 7 star, right?
Right.
Okay. Now let's say when the value of I equal to 6. Okay, so the value of I equal to 6, it come back here. Okay, okay. So let's say when the value of I equal to 6, right? This point I'm saying. Now it come to this point. This get incremented by 1. So it becomes 7. So because of that, print is able to do that thing. Now once it gets 7, again here come back to while thing, and this value become I equal to 7. So here if we do the plus, it become 8. So it avoid 8 star because we are adding plus 1 at the top just above this print statement. So because of that thing, it able to print 7 star.
Okay, got it.
Got it? Okay. So now let's say if I, so this is a star thing. Okay, so there are some problem, practice problem, which I will give on coding, so that you can try. Um, okay, maybe one problem is like, let's say this is a number. Okay. And so my objective is, let's say I have given here, basically, let's say interviewer given you a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it asks you to reverse a number. Okay, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, have you got the problem? Means, so this is my input and this is what we want. And let's say you can use for loop or while loop. Think for 2 minutes, means you have 2 minutes, and tell me the logic if anyone want to try. So this is, means in real interview you can expect such question. Okay, so if anyone want to try, they can. So the most important thing is the logic. Always the first thing is logic, then the syntax will come. So always the first thing is logic. What could be the logic? Okay, no problem. Let me answer that thing. So it is not that I able to uh, do this thing in a first try. I also uh, gone through means some practice problem, and then there I got the logic. But this just means you'll develop logic intuition once you tried multiple problem. Okay, so in this, here also we will need a loop, some sort of loop. So let's say if I just divide this number and find the remainder. Okay, so uh, let's say if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 percentage of 10. So what we will achieve? We will achieve 6, right? So that is my first thing. So this is one hint. Similarly, let's say if I do 5, 6, this thing, what I will achieve? I will achieve 4, 5. Okay. Now, again, if I divide this thing 3, 4, 5, divide modulus 10, what you will achieve? That is a 5. Okay. Similarly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divided by 10, you will achieve 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. So let's say if I have to for, or maybe I can use while loop, while I greater than 0. Okay. And let's say if I give some digit equal to, yeah, So let's say first time I want to find the first digit, right? So A is my number. So what I can do, A equal to A percentage 10. Okay. So that is my first digit. Okay. And similarly, number equal to A number equal to number 10. Okay. So here we able to achieve for we every in every loop we able to achieve the digit. Okay. 6 5 4 3. matlab in first iteration we if we divide this by or modulus by 10 we able to achieve 6. Similarly 5 4 3 2 1. And every times so the number we will it will get sort by one place because of since we are doing this operation. Okay, so let's say if you want to see, so let's say if I do 3 4 5 6 divided by 10, it will return 1 2 3 4 5. Similarly in next iteration if I do this thing it will return 1 2 3 4. Okay, similarly let's say if I do 3 4 5 modulus 10, it will give me the remainder. Okay, so now we have the digit number, but still we not able to reverse the thing, right? So let's say if I do reverse number, okay. Uh, so if I uh, so digit and um, what should we do? So if we add the digit, okay, so let's say first time my number will be 6, right? And that we want to be in first place. Anyone? What should we write here? Or means
A plus
what is
digit.
what should recome
A
again?
plus digit.
A plus digit. So what will happen because of that? So the value of A is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So if
But
we
after the calculation, it will be reduced for by using modulus and floor division. So we can get A as directly as 6.
so we are not updating the value of A, we just created a new variable that is a number. So you want to say this thing because first time the number will be 1 2 3 4 5, and if you add the digit it will not help to solve that thing, miss.
Or we can declare an I variable and we can increment it by I plus digit.
So let's say even if I increment, okay, maybe if I let's say do I equal to
new number or something, and we can take the
0.
calculation as new number.
Then what will happen?
It will take the
Eh,
sixth value as a new number, and we can
hmm.
add that new number plus digit.
So if you add, that will be addition, na? It will not means we don't have to do the addition. We are just want to reverse the number,
Right.
right? So what should we do? Can we do some sort of multiplication thing, like multiply with some number?
Mm.
Let's say if we multiply with 10 into,
Can't we make it a empty list and directly choose a while loop and combine it?
there are multiple ways, but you need to convert that into a string, then you can do. But because this is a number, you cannot directly break that number. Okay. Since this is a number, this is not a iterable thing.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, okay, no problem. Try to solve this problem. That is a assignment. Okay. You can try with that approach. So one approach, maybe that is a harder approach that you can start with. So let's say A, if I do create a B equal to str of A. Okay. And so what it will convert that into a, okay, sorry, convert that A into a string. Okay. Now let's say for I in A, B, and if you do print I, then it will uh, basically you can iterate that thing. Okay. And if you want, you can do other operation like save into a list, then reverse the list, then again convert that into a, means since these are a string, you can add all those things, and again that get if you add all those things, so since 1 and 2 both are strings, so if you add those things, so it will not be number addition, it will be string addition. Okay. So the thing that I want to say is like, let's say if 1 is there and let's say 2 is there. If you add these two things, it will be 1, 2, not uh, addition, normal addition. Since this is a string and this is also a string, since we have put it this inside a quote. Okay. So that can be one of the logics. So try to solve this problem. Okay. And I've already means uh, try to not take any help. Okay. From internet. I have taken the help, honestly, but try to solve uh, it your own. Okay. So that will be a good exercise for you people to. Uh, it can be means just think uh, what can be done to solve this thing. So
We can use for or while loop in this.
yeah, you can use for loop, while loop, list, whatever we have learned till now. You can try any combination and try to solve. Okay. And if you take the help of internet, you can easily get that answer. But try to avoid the thing. It is not about means how good we are. Just try to, and it doesn't guarantee also like if you're able to solve this problem, then other problem also you will be able to solve. But definitely once we solve the problem by our own. It can be harder approach, not the optimized approach or fastest approach. Still, it gives some confidence. Okay, so to get confidence, try to solve problems. Yeah, and
But this is a
this
interview level question, or it gets more harder
नहीं
if we
नहीं
proceed.
इंटरव्यू लेवल पे भी बहुत हार्ड नहीं आएगा। इतना मैं एश्योर कर सकता हूँ, अनलेस कि अमेजोन गूगल ये सब का दे रहे हो तो अलग बात है। बाकी नॉर्मल उसमें ज़्यादा हार्ड लेवल का नहीं आएगा। वो ये जानना चाहते हैं कि यू कैन कोड और नॉट। ठीक है।
अच्छा, सिर्फ वाइब कोडिंग पे डिपेंडेंट नहीं है वो ऐसे।
नहीं, वाइब वाइब कोडिंग कितना भी बोल लें लेकिन कोड लिखवाएंगे तुमसे। ठीक है, हो
हाँ
सकता है।
हाँ।
हाँ, तो अपने को
तो
भी ज़्यादा
जरूरी हो गया इंटरव्यू लेवल के क्वेश्चन सीखना बोले तो।
बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं, लेकिन अगर टाइम है तो पहले तो जेनीआई का जो पार्ट है उसको कम, उसके बाद अगर टाइम है तो इसको भी थोड़ा सा कर लेने में कोई वो नहीं है, मतलब अच्छा है।
हाँ, कैसा भी ये पाइथन में बात तो आप इंटरव्यू लेवल क्वेश्चन डालते होंगे ना, वो कर लिए तो भी बस हो जाएगा।
हाँ, थोड़ा सा प्रैक्टिस कर लोगे कुछ क्वेश्चन जो कॉमन क्वेश्चन है तो उससे
हाँ
हो जाता है। नेट में जो भी फ्रीली अवेलेबल क्वेश्चन है, हाँ मिल जाएंगे। मतलब जैसे कि मैं साइट भी बता रहा हूँ, अगर किसी को ग्रीक, फॉर ग्रीक्स पाइथन इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चंस। ओके, तो इसमें जैसे कुछ क्वेश्चन मिल जाएंगे, ठीक है, वो ट्राई कर सकते हो। हैं तो कुछ कुछ सिंपल, पर मैं एक बार भेज दूंगा जो भी है ना क्वेश्चन, तो उसको आप लोग
हाँ,
ट्राई
आप एक
कर
बार
सकते हो।
इंटरव्यू लेवल के भेज दो, मतलब जेन के रिलेटेड।
हम्म, ठीक है। ओके, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन एनीवन? Okay, so in next class we will see function, which is also very important from Gen AI perspective. Means people will not ask any interview question from that topic, but if you write any code in Gen AI, the chances are very high that you create some function. Okay, so from learning point of view, that topic is very important. So in next class we will see function, and there are few filters, map, some means small topics that also we will try to cover in the next class. So yeah, and after that it will take two more class to cover the object classes and objects. Then the Python will get finished. Okay, then we will start the GenAI topic. Okay,
सर, ये आपकी ये जो क्लास हो रही रोज, इसको रिपीट करना नेसेसरी रहेगा या चल जाता अगर शुरू में पाइथन की क्लास जेने क्लासेस को वापस रिपीट पे देख ले सकते?
हाँ, जितना प्रैक्टिस करोगे उतना बेटर है। ठीक है।
ओके।